Is stacking silver, or maybe even some gold, for you? Well, you may think that's a crazy question. Of course it is. Of course stacking silver is for me. From what I understand thus far, I think history has shown it's not been for most people. We're not talking about the 1% or anything here, but it typically was not something the masses were able to acquire for themselves. And if they did manage to get something shiny and white in their grubby little hands, well, they weren't able to hold on to it for long. Ugh, here he goes again, disparaging the poor. Yes and no. We'll get into it, and it's gonna be fun. Big Ted took the last video. First class, thousandaire. Wouldn't you just like to have one of these? Oh, you already got some. Well, excuse me. Or you got something similar. This should come as no surprise. It's a wealthy community, after all, we got here. A wealthy community that almost has 6,000 thousandaires. This network that cares about its net worth collectively should be worth well above $6 million. And I believe that's a very low estimate. Yeah, that's only assuming everyone has $1,000 net worth. I always say, estimate your assets lower than what they really are, and estimate your obligations higher than what they really are. And you'll always be pleasantly surprised. Anyway, if you're enjoying this community and you would like to see it expand, please hit that like button. Your likes will expand our reach. And we are expanding thanks to your vigilance. When we finally mobilize, it will be a glorious thing. And remember, this channel will never be sponsored by bullion dealers or mining companies. So when I talk about silver and gold, it's not because I'm trying to sell it to you. Integrity must be the first priority here. I certainly don't want to insult anyone's intelligence. I'm sure most of you are actually smarter than myself. And I'm grateful to have you here. Your guidance in the comments alone has been very valuable. Even if you just simply remember and hold me to my routines. I don't think I would have bought the Centenario every 6 months without your harassment. So what's up with these big silver coins? Morgan dollars, peace dollars, and world equivalent coins like reals, dollars, or crowns, which are all relatively about the same amount of silver. And purity for durability. Relatively, okay? Not exactly. But close enough, in my opinion. So what's up with these coins? These chunky silver coins that used to circulate. They were basically the world's reserve currency. They were used for centuries to facilitate global trade. Highly relevant for centuries. These coins were not a promise of payment, but payment in and of itself. Silver is a valuable material, a commodity with many uses, and perfect for trade because it doesn't really spoil and it's rather compact. And I say these were relevant for centuries, but the usage of silver coins goes back thousands of years. So what were these things? Only relevant up till 1935 when the last silver dollars were minted in the United States? The peace dollar, that is. Keep in mind, I'm talking about silver coinage in use, not sovereign bullion products, such as silver eagles, unzas, maples, Krugerrands, Britannias, pandas, kangaroos. I'm talking about tools that were actually tested in the field, used for trade, used by our ancestors for their very survival. Do we no longer need to trade silver coinage? I don't know the history of every other country, but the United States stopped making silver coins in 1964. So human beings used silver coins for trade pretty much for our whole existence up until a little over 60 years ago. Human beings used silver to facilitate global trade for thousands of years up until 60 years ago. What happened? What cured us for our need for real money? Or these tokens of true substance? If you're not familiar with this channel, this is not a presentation. I just kind of ponder every morning. I'm thinking about this right now, today. With my coffee in the morning, I ponder and I post it on the internet for everyone to hear. What could go wrong? What could go right? I just had a light bulb go off. What happened in the 60s that made us think we no longer need silver? And for some reason, computing popped in my mind. So I just quickly took a couple moments to see when the computer was invented, but mainly when countries adopted computers for their finances globally, and that took place around the mid-60s. Coincidence? Perhaps. And I mean that. You don't want to get crazy with correlations right away. But major countries that traded adopting computers made me instantly think about tally sticks. If you're not familiar with tally sticks, they were used as money for 900 years. Yeah, 9 centuries, sticks were used as money. How? A debt was created. A borrower would borrow from a lender. The amount would be represented with notches cut on the stick. The spaces between the notches would indicate higher value. And then the stick was split long ways. The borrower and the lender each get a half, like a wishbone. When the debt is repaid, the stick gets put back together and is destroyed. My knowledge is rather limited about tally sticks, but I do find them quite interesting, and perhaps I'll learn more about them later. But a tally stick is just basically a form of ledger, and computers can certainly be used for this. Trade and imbalances could be tallied on the computer. I imagine this could probably lead to less frequent settlements, as long as there's trust. Whether you trust in another nation's ability to repay, or you trust in your nation's ability to collect, or likely both. I'm not going to think about this all morning, but what it looks like to me is we just had about 60 plus years of a rapid credit expansion because of the adoption of computers. I don't know how everyone else handles credit expansion, but when my credit card limit went from 500 to 5,000, there was some problems. And what solves credit problems? Settlement. I got my card pretty much back under control, but I'm going to make sure I put that fire all the way out. So, do we still need these big silver coins? Is stacking silver for you? Are these relics even relevant anymore? I don't think these are relics. Silver is an element, and a very useful one. I'm also not going to spend all morning telling you about its many uses. So many uses. Big, beautiful uses. For this bright, beautiful metal. People need it. Countries need it. It's still a valuable commodity. It's still a form of relevant settlement. Financial cycles and weather cycles can be longer than a human lifetime. So we are prone to a recency bias. Your great-grandmother may have seen a time when a silver coin could have really saved the day. Or a life. Remember, people used to starve pretty often. Now, if you're impoverished, you're more likely to eat kibbles and grains and become very overweight. Anyhow, there could be a time where a silver coin could save the day, or perhaps even a life, once again. Prosperity does not mean we will always be prosperous. And make no doubt, the poorest amongst us in the first world are still prosperous by world standards. I've heard the average American with Section 8 housing has more square footage in their home than the average European. Not the average European on public assistance, but the average European that works for a living. I'm actually kind of curious how they compare to another American that actually works. I'm sure we could go on for a long time about that as well. The more I think about it, the happier I get about owning these big silver coins. I'm convinced they lie dormant, waiting until they are quite relevant once again. When I look at the geopolitical landscape right now, I see trust kind of breaking down. And by kind of breaking down, I mean I see trust breaking down. And I imagine that will increase the frequency of settlements. And some parties will probably lose. When the music stops of this ugly divorce of nations, there will not be enough chairs to sit down in. It's a musical chairs analogy. And the chairs are commodities or assets. And I would imagine the realer, the better. I think the administrators on these tallies or computers have really started to let us down. And I'm not going to count on them to administrate any value to me. In fact, I expect quite the opposite from them. It's true, credit expands, but credit also contracts. And I don't know about you, but I'll accept silver and gold from anyone, whether I like them or not. But if the world should go trustless, I will not accept promises from anyone, or at least not from many. So even if you have a couple of these silver coins, count yourself amongst the fortunate. Because throughout history, the average person could not hold on to a big silver coin. This 60 plus years of a credit expansion may be looked back upon as a time when a peasant could really grab some silver and gold, while the world was distracted with their electronic toys. Or not, I don't know. Remember, I'm just some guy with a crummy job who talks to his iPhone 11 in the morning. I don't even have a washer and dryer in my home. Nothing is financial advice. I'm just sharing my perspective on things. I'm just trying to provide what I'd like to see other stackers provide. My personal philosophies, opinions, not as an authority, but as another stacker, just stacking adjacent, sharing with the group. And I believe if we all did this genuinely, meaning unswayed by biased sponsorships, we could really work together to come to great consensus. I've heard if you fill a jar with, say, gumballs or coins, and you ask people how much is in there, and they write down their answers, if you take all of their answers and average them out, it's uncannily close to the exact amount. Is that true? I don't know. I'll have to conduct an experiment one day. If, for some reason, you enjoyed me rambling on and thinking out loud, well, then I guess this channel is certainly for you. Join this wealthy community of thousandaires. It's so simple. Just hit the subscribe button. It's somewhere underneath the video. I'm not going to walk you all the way through it. I'm hungry. I got to go make some breakfast. I do appreciate you being here, and I'd love to read your thoughts down below. Don't worry about offending anyone. Just get down there and type. I can't wait to read them. And I'll probably see you tomorrow. I've been walking a lot lately, so I'm trying to balance everything into my daily routine. It's difficult. Yeah, I know. Small violin. I guess that's it. That is it! Thousandaire Radio. Wicked shout. Join the pen pals. You can now write me at The Thousandaire Collector, 1700 Sullivan Trail, Suite 7, Box 111, Easton, Pennsylvania, 18040. Don't forget to include your info so I can put you on my mailing list.